There are moments in life when the universe sends us a whisper, a sign, a warning. And sometimes that whisper comes as a strong command: don't go outside. Not because the outside world is evil, but because the lesson you need is inside. When God says, don't go outside on 20th of September, He is not only protecting you from danger, He is calling you to look within, to pause, and to reflect. We live in a world where we are constantly running outward, chasing things, chasing people, chasing validation. But what if one day is not about running? What if one day is about stopping, breathing, and listening? When you hear the words, God said don't go outside, the first response that many people feel inside their hearts is fear, confusion, or resistance. The mind begins to question, why am I being told to stop? Why can't I continue with my plans? Why is something being taken away from me? And in this moment of questioning, you stand at the edge of understanding something profound, that what feels like a restriction is often the greatest form of protection. Too often in life we confuse being held back with being denied, but life is not about denial, life is about timing. When the divine places a pause before you, it is not a punishment, it is a shield. When the universe whispers, don't go outside today, it may very well be saving you from a storm that you cannot see, from a danger that you cannot sense, or from a path that would have led you astray. And if you carry wisdom in your heart, you begin to realize that not every open door is meant to be walked through, and not every road is safe to travel. Think about how a loving parent behaves with their child. If a child tries to run into the street while cars are racing by, the parent will not hesitate to grab the child's hand and hold them back. To the child, it may feel unfair. The child may cry, may resist, may think the parent is too strict. But the truth is, that parent is offering the highest form of love, the love of protection. That same principle applies to the guidance that God places before you. When the divine voice whispers, don't go outside on the 20th of September, it is the same as that parent pulling you back from a busy road. It is not meant to make you feel trapped. It is meant to keep you alive, safe, and aligned with your higher purpose. We must understand that protection is not always visible. You cannot always see what you are being saved from. Just because your eyes cannot perceive the storm does not mean the storm is not there. Imagine walking through a forest at night. There may be traps, snakes, or deep pits waiting ahead of you, but without a light, you would walk straight into them. If someone calls out and says, stop, do not move forward, you may feel annoyed. But if you trust that voice, you are spared from harm. God's guidance is that light. When He says don't step outside, He is illuminating dangers you cannot perceive. And even if you don't see the threat, even if you don't understand why the command is given, obedience is the wisest path, because the one who sees the entire picture is guiding your steps. In our human nature, we often resist stillness. We are taught to always do, to always move, to always achieve. When a command comes to pause, it feels uncomfortable. We begin to associate stopping with failure, with weakness, or with missed opportunities. But the truth is that sometimes the greatest opportunity is hidden in the pause. If you are told to stay inside, it could be that your body needs rest, your soul needs reflection, or your spirit needs to avoid a storm that would drain your energy. How many times in your life have you pushed forward blindly, only to realize later that you were walking straight into a situation that caused you pain? And how many times did you later say to yourself, I wish I had listened to my intuition, I wish I had waited? The divine voice saying, don't go outside, is the protection you wish you had listened to in the past. It is the wisdom you prayed for. It is the answer arriving before the question is even spoken. The ego inside of us wants freedom without boundaries. We want to believe that we always know what is best for ourselves. But the soul understands something deeper. True freedom is found in trust. When you trust the divine, you no longer feel punished by restrictions, you feel protected by them. Imagine a bird in a storm. The sky is filled with lightning and heavy winds, and the bird is told to remain in its nest. At first, the bird may long to fly, to stretch its wings, to feel the air. But the bird who obeys survives the storm, and when the sky clears, it soars higher than ever before. The bird that ignores the warning and flies into chaos may never return. This is the meaning of divine protection. The nest is not a cage. The nest is safety until the time is right to fly again. We must also learn to reinterpret what it means to lose an opportunity. Sometimes you think staying inside means missing out on something important, a meeting, an event, a moment. But the truth is, if you are being divinely guided to stay put, then what you think you are missing was never meant to be yours. No blessing that belongs to you will ever be taken away because of obedience. In fact, obedience ensures that blessings arrive in perfect timing. When you trust that protection is a gift, you are no longer chasing every open door. You begin to recognize that not every open door leads to light. Some lead to darkness. And the divine voice is the only compass that never fails. To understand this truth, you must practice surrender. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is the strength to say, I do not know everything, but I trust the one who does. When you surrender to divine guidance, you are not giving up your power. You are aligning with a power greater than your own. Think of the sailor on a vast ocean. The sailor may want to sail east, but if the winds are strong against him, forcing him to pause, forcing him to wait, he has a choice. Resist the wind and break the sail, or surrender to the pause. Trust the storm will pass, and sail smoothly when the winds shift. Which sailor survives? The one who recognizes that nature's pause is not an enemy, but a protector. In the same way, divine instruction is the wind guiding your ship. Fighting it only brings exhaustion. Trusting it brings safe arrival. So many people in life look back and say, I wish I had been stopped before making that decision, before walking into that room, before trusting that person. And here you stand, given the very thing others wish for, the warning, the command, the protection. To ignore it would be to dishonor the gift. God never places a restriction without a reason. You may not see it, but later, when the danger has passed, you will understand. Many people have stories of near misses. I was delayed by just a few minutes, and I avoided an accident. My train was late, and I missed being at the wrong place at the wrong time. I listened to the inner voice telling me to stay back, and it saved my life. These stories are not accidents. They are evidence of divine protection. To call them coincidences is to blind yourself to the love that constantly surrounds you. The lesson here is to begin seeing protection as the highest form of love. Just as a shepherd guards his sheep from wolves, just as a parent guards their child from harm, the divine guards you from paths not meant for you. The walls you face are not barriers, they are shields. The closed doors are not rejections, they are redirections. The pauses are not punishments, they are preparation. Every moment you are told, don't go outside, is a moment you are being given time to build inner strength, clarity, and patience. Because what is waiting for you beyond the pause will require more of you. And if you rush forward unprepared, you will collapse. But if you wait, if you trust, you will rise when the moment is right. On the 20th of September, if the message is to stay inside, take it as a day of honor. You are being singled out, chosen for a lesson deeper than action. This is not a day of fear, but of faith. Instead of seeing what you cannot do, see what you are being invited to do, to rest, to reflect, to align. Use that stillness to connect with yourself, to breathe, to pray, to meditate. Understand that outside the walls of your home, there may be storms, but inside the walls of your heart, there is peace. And God is guiding you toward that peace. Every instruction has purpose, and every pause has power. Learn to cherish them, because they are not given lightly. They are given with love. So remember, protection is never punishment. It is love in its purest form. The day you realize this truth is the day you will stop fighting the pauses and start embracing them. The divine is not taking something away from you. The divine is ensuring that nothing takes you away from your purpose. That is why the words, "Don't go outside," are not chains. They are wings. Wings that will carry you safely over storms you never even had to face. The world has taught us that journeys are about distance, about stepping out into roads, crossing borders, climbing mountains, or reaching faraway lands. But what most people never realize is that the longest, deepest, and most transformative journey a human being can ever take does not require a passport, a ticket, or even a single step outside the door. It is the journey that begins when you turn inward, when you travel from the noise of the outside world into the silence of your inner self, when you stop searching outside for answers and begin listening to the quiet wisdom that has always been inside you. This is why when the divine says, "Don't go outside on the 20th of September," it is not an act of limiting your life. It is an invitation to start the greatest journey of your existence. You may believe that progress only happens when you move your body, when you chase opportunities, when you keep running outward. But the truth is that some of the most powerful transformations happen not when you run forward, but when you sit still. The outer journey may change your location, but the inner journey changes your life. When you look at the lives of those who have found deep peace, clarity, and wisdom, you will notice one thing. They were not the ones who always chased the horizon, but the ones who dared to sit with themselves. The sage on the mountain, the monk in meditation, the warrior who trains his mind before lifting his sword. These figures remind us that strength, clarity, and destiny are not forged outside, but inside. Yet in the modern world, we are constantly trained to look outward. We believe happiness is out there, success is out there, answers are out there. And so we exhaust ourselves in endless chasing, never realizing that what we are looking for has been within us all along. The divine command to pause, to not step outside, is a sacred reminder the journey that matters most is not in the streets or cities, but in the silence of your own soul. Imagine for a moment that you are given a treasure map. You spend days and nights chasing the treasure across mountains, across deserts, across oceans. You endure hardship, exhaustion, and pain because you are convinced that the treasure lies somewhere far away. But when you finally collapse in despair, when you finally give up the search, you look within your own home, and there, hidden in the corner of your room, lies the very treasure you spent your life chasing. This is the story of humanity. We look outward for peace, for joy, for meaning, when the treasure has always been within. The message of "Don't go outside" is not a limitation. It is the divine turning your face toward the map that points inward. It is a reminder that the answers you seek will never be found in the noise of the crowd, but in the silence of your own heart. But why is the inner journey so difficult for people? Because silence is uncomfortable. Stillness is confronting. When you sit in a room without distraction, you begin to hear the thoughts you have been avoiding, the fears you have buried, the doubts you have ignored. The outside world is a constant escape from your own reflection. That is why people keep running, because if they stop, they must face themselves. Yet facing yourself is the beginning of true transformation. If you cannot look within, you will never grow beyond. The divine does not say, "Stay inside," to trap you, but to liberate you from the endless escape you have been living. He invites you to sit, to listen, to breathe, and to discover the self you have abandoned in the chase. The journey within is not about comfort, it is about truth. And truth is often uncomfortable in the beginning. But once you confront it, it becomes your strength. Think of a warrior preparing for battle. He does not begin by running to the battlefield unprepared. He begins by sitting with his mind, disciplining his thoughts, sharpening his inner clarity. For if his mind is weak, his sword will fail. The same is true for you. If your inner world is scattered, no matter how far